Our top story today from the GatewayPundit.com. MSNBC broadcasts Joy Reid's utterly insane California wildfire conspiracy theory. We're covering this story and so much more here on the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and this is the Week in Review, where we cover the top 5 stories of the last 24 hours. Our top story today from Brian Chai at the Western Journal reports, well, it turns out that at this point in 2025, everyone pretty much knows what to expect from MSNBC race baiter Joy Reid. Whatever she's raging about, black people, white people, President-elect Donald Trump, or just raging for a sake of raging, Reid is known as an established entity, unfortunately. So it should come as a little surprise that Reid was back on her nonsense during her show's Monday broadcast, spewing her usual rhetoric. You can watch her idiocy for yourself below. Now, as I play the video here in just a second, I kind of want to bring something into mind. Number one, Joy Reid obviously is a reprobate. She's one of the most disgusting people that you could ever work with. But on top of that, she's also bald, which means that she's visually repulsive. Now, we're not here to really attack people based on their outward appearance, but the truth is that her outward appearance is a reflection of who she is. Listen to her insane understanding of these fires and what's going on. Watch this video.
In Mexico and Canada for sending firefighters to face the flames and planes to brave the hurricane-force Santa Ana winds to drop water on the blazes. And God forbid, they acknowledge that whatever the initial cause of the fires, they were exacerbated by climate change, which has led to rising temperatures, longer fire seasons, and heightened drought conditions. Although, you know who does acknowledge climate change? The insurance companies that have been canceling policies in California due to the risk of climate change. And the people losing the most in Los Angeles County aren't the rich, faded celebrities like Mr. Woods who can afford to rebuild and to move into one of their other homes while they wait. It's the middle-class homeowners in places like Altadena, where an historic and stable black neighborhood has been all but wiped off the map and ignored by much of the press, while the vulture capitalists are already circling, hoping to snap up the burned up properties for pennies on the dollar so they can hedge fund them into yet another batch of billionaire-owned overpriced rentals. But the worst part, other than the fires themselves, has been the lies. Though if there is one thing the billionaire right is, they are consistent. They want California, America's biggest state economy, because if they can take California and retrofit it with their ugly right-wing policies, the way they've ruined Florida and Texas and every other red state where poverty rates are high and education is warped and non-white immigrants, pregnant women, victimized girls, and LGBTQ folks live in fear, then the fight for permanent control of America is basically over. They can drill and frack California till the fires this past week pale in comparison. They can rip out all the forests and hand over the land to developers, Florida style. They can drive out the brown people and the black and Asian people, or just sink them into the same apartheid they've created in Texas. And they will control enough electoral votes if they control California to never have to worry about another presidential election. The billionaire right knows that they cannot take California, home to Hollywood, San Francisco, and Kendrick Lamar, by culture. So they're looking to try to take it with lies.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually what's happening. You know, when you read this stuff, it is pretty remarkable. I'm looking at my producer here. They're actually just lying to their audience. There's no apartheid in Texas. Honestly, we want apartheid in Texas. And before you accuse me of racism, I'm not talking about between black and white people. I'm talking about apartheid between the United States and Mexico, right? We want a border wall, and we don't want Mexican people flooding into our country, Haitian people, or anybody coming in illegally. We don't want that. It's not even controversial. And also, I didn't know if she was talking or the lines in her neck were speaking out, but Joy Reid literally looks like a character from The Nightmare Before Christmas. And it should say, well, that's because, you're racist. No. I mean, I don't think Beyonce, she's black too. She doesn't look like The Nightmare Before Christmas. She's a beautiful woman. Joy Reid is ugly inside and out. And we stand against what she stands for, which is the CIA. I mean, if you really think about it, that's what she is. When you listen to Joy Reid, you're listening to the CIA, and it's absolutely insane. Now, I got to tell you guys something crazy. Do you know that the American homeowners nationwide have over $32 trillion in equity? And cyber criminals are targeting it with a growing scam that the FBI calls house stealing. Now, house alarms, doorbell cameras, and deadbolts won't work against these thieves because they're not after your stuff, they're after your equity. If your title isn't being monitored, scammers can transfer the title of your home into their name using a one-page document they file at the county. and they take out the loans against it or even sell it behind your back. The scariest part is you won't find it until collection or even foreclosures notices start arriving in your mailbox. But by then, the damage has already been done, and you're left with a financial and legal nightmare. The best way to protect your equity is with the triple lock protection from my friends at Home Title Lock. Triple lock protection is 24/7 monitoring, alerts of any changes, and God forbid, if the worst happens, restoration services at no out-of-pocket cost to you. So when was the last time that you checked on your title? Well, if you're like me, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. So if you want to protect your home title and have peace of mind on your family's biggest investment, go to HometitleLock.com/gatewaypundit. That's HometitleLock.com/GATEWAYPUNDIT and use promo code Elijah, ELIJAH, for a free 30-day trial. Again, that's HometitleLock.com/gatewaypundit. Promo code Elijah for a free 30-day trial. Guys, this is a very serious crime, and we don't want you to be a victim. Now, speaking of our next story that I find to be quite interesting, it turns out that Brooke Shields reignites antidepressant controversy. Listen to this. Have you ever taken antidepressants or someone you know had to take them as well? I'll just be vulnerable here for a moment and admit I did take them for a while, but I don't think they did anything. In fact, they actually drove me crazy. I became a more balanced individual when I threw them away, and now I just have fun instigating and trolling a little bit on the internet. But, other than that, my personal life is very, very well balanced and quite a bit of fun, if you ask me. Now, that being said, during a 2005 interview with then Today Show host Matt Lauer, actor Tom Cruise claimed that Brooke Shields was irresponsible for taking medication for postpartum depression because it didn't cure anything. Fast forward to 2 decades, and Shields, in a new memoir, Brooke Shields is Not Allowed to Get Old, lets the public know that Cruise eventually apologized for shaming her, explaining that it wasn't the world's best apology, but it was what he was capable of, and I accepted it. Gee, well, that's such a big actress, considering that Cruise was accurate in his statements. Shields might not have liked the delivery, but Cruise was right that antidepressants didn't cure anything. More galling, though, is that Shields continues to get it wrong. She says that of Cruise's remarks that it was so ridiculous to me, it's not about the moral thing or the right thing or the good thing, it's about who has more power. No, Brooke is about the right thing. It's about providing accurate information because lives are at stake. When someone is in a position of power like yourself, doesn't that provide accurate information to us and disparages others who do? What are you up to? For example, not only do antidepressants not cure anything, but the mind-altering drugs also don't treat any known abnormality. That's called accurate information. Now let's repeat this. Antidepressants do not treat or cure any known abnormality. The fact that Shields refers to Cruise's 2005 remarks as his ridiculous rant to advance his own deluded agenda reveals just how out of touch Shields is and how little the Ivy League graduate knows about the psychiatric drug that she took and takes. This information isn't new, and it's not a new revelation at all. Never in the 40 years that SSRIs have been on the market has any antidepressant treated any abnormality, least of all postpartum depression. Now, is Shields still under the impression that antidepressants treat her chemical imbalances? Hello? That theory has been utterly and completely debunked in a 2022 paper by Professor Joanna Monsareff and Dr. Mark Horowitz that revealed that it is important that people know that the idea that people use these depression fighting drugs to fight this is just really kind of a hypothetical idea. And we do not know what temporarily elevating serotonin or other biochemical changes produced by antidepressants do to the brain. We conclude that it is impossible to say that taking SSRI antidepressants is worthwhile or even completely safe. Now, many of you guys know that SSRIs are sold as a pill, right? They're told that you just take this one little pill in the morning, maybe you take another pill at night, take it with your anti-anxieties. Look, do you know when I have anxiety? I usually have anxiety when I'm not managing my life well. I have anxiety when I get myself into extreme problems. You ever make a mistake? Do you know what they call that feeling of regret when you wake up hungover? Do you know what they call it? They call it hangxiety. Because they're saying that you have anxiety caused by a hangover, meaning you drank, and so you have a combo of literal high cortisol levels in your body, but also you end up having this regret. So you have a psychiatric, psychological, neurological thing going on, and those together can make your chest feel like it's caving in. I've been there. Maybe you have. I don't know. You wake up from drinking, like, what did I do? What's going on? But speaking of not just alcohol, a lot of this stuff ends up causing problems. Our lifestyles do. Straight up, you're just not going to feel good drinking every day. You're not going to feel great looking at porn throughout the day. I know people think, well, if you drink a little bit every day, if you look a little bit of porn, is it going to affect you? Maybe not as much as, let's say, having a severe addiction, but even a little bit of degeneracy, a little bit of vice can still go a long way when it comes to destabilizing our minds, The brain is a terrible thing to waste, and it's vital that we take care of it. Now, in additional news, bitter to the end, Joe Biden takes a vile shot at President Trump and MAGA Nation in his lie-filled final farewell letter to America. Colin Linebarger reports that Joe Biden is remaining the classless narcissist to the bitter end. On Wednesday morning, Biden released his farewell letter to the American people filled with awful remarks towards Trump and his fans, with the rest of it comprising of massive lies. This comes before the final farewell TV speech, which will occur at 8 p.m. Biden opened up his letter by taking a nasty shot at President Trump and his fans while referencing the January 6th protests, claiming that they orchestrated the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. Ooh. And the Civil War wasn't an attack on our democracy. The Civil War was a legal secession of a new country who didn't believe in the Union of the States. And then the North declared war on them technically. They say, well, technically the South fired first, but honestly, they didn't want to go to war. They wanted to end it a lot earlier. They wanted independence, but we had to bring everyone together, right? AKA, we had to have power. Well, 4 years ago, we stood in a winter of peril and a winter of possibilities, he wrote. We were in the grip of the worst pandemic in a century, the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, and the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. But we came together as Americans, and we braved through it. We emerged stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. He then followed with multiple lies about his disastrous economic record, which has fueled record inflation and plunged millions of Americans into poverty. Today, we have the strongest economy in the world and have created a record 16.6 million new jobs, he boasted. Wages are up, inflation continues to come down, and the racial wealth gap is the lowest it's been in 20 years. We're rebuilding our entire nation, urban, suburban, rural, and tribal communities. He also said that manufacturing is coming back to America. And then he went on to reiterate his tall tale that he ran for president one final time in 2020 because he believed the soul of America was at stake rather than the truth that he regretted chickening out of the challenging crooked Hillary in 2016. And also he just ran recently too. Did we miss that one? Did he just run for president of the United States? I'm pretty confident that Joe Biden was running for president and got kicked out by his own party. I might be wrong on that though, but ultimately speaking, he has once again lied to us. And there's really nothing we can do about it. Now watch this. O'Keefe Media Group exposes former FBI special agent and self-described spy hunter giving tell-all on Defense Department's plan to sabotage incoming Trump administration. This is originally reported by Jordan Conradson. And that being said, the original group, O'Keefe and his crew, have released footage from their investigation to the Department of Defense advisor, Jamie Menigna, maybe I said it right, revealing that he's working behind the scenes with third-party groups and retired generals to undermine Trump's incoming administration. O'Keefe was in Washington, D.C. this past weekend exposing deep state employees who gave up information on plans to sabotage President Trump's incoming administration. The Gateway Pundit spoke to O'Keefe Sunday, and he shared that more tapes are coming this week, which exposes various deep state agencies. Now, I want to share that with you. Right? We'll talk about that in a second, but look, O'Keefe's been doing a pretty damn good job, right? Ultimately speaking, he's been exposing these people. And I think what we're going to find from this is that there is information that we are given that perhaps is that our government is trying to harm us. And unfortunately, we are living in the most advanced era in human history, but there has never been more medical breakthroughs than there are right now. Do you know about that? We are literally at the cutting edge. So why is it when I look around that millions of Americans, and I was living in Australia, even Australians, look more unhealthy and overweight than they've ever been? Now, according to U.S. board-certified physician and expert nutritionist Dr. Amy Lee, one of the main reasons is 3 harmful foods that are being passed off as health foods all over the country. And wait till you hear this, because these foods can cause weight gain, clog your digestive tract, even deplete your energy and wreck your skin. They are banned in other countries, yet shockingly, they're still legal in the U.S. Now, it's the time that someone shined a light on what they are. Dr. Amy Lee does just that while explaining how the side effects from these foods are wreaking havoc on the health of millions of Americans. The great news is it's easy to stop and reverse this damage by simply learning which foods to avoid and how to spot them. And by doing so, you can experience easier weight loss, smooth digestion, and vibrant energy. To find out these 3 fake health foods, go to 3harmfulfoods.com/pundit. That's the number 3, HARMFULFOODS.com/PUNDIT. That's the number 3, harmfulfoods.com/pundit. Click the link in the description. After years of extensive study, Dr. Amy Lee put together this revealing video. So either get duped by these foods or watch the video now. Now, ultimately speaking, it is quite interesting in this video directly released by O'Keefe Media Group. I'll find it here. It looks like we found ourselves a mole. Now, this individual who was interviewed by O'Keefe and his people have once again found themselves in the crosshairs of being exposed. We'll only watch a couple minutes. Watch.
Top consulting firm, and my client is the Pentagon. So I'm embedded in the Pentagon. I work in the Joint Staff, which is the top military command. Once you lost, I went into the intelligence community and I became an FBI special agent. So I became a spy hunter. So I was a counterintelligence agent, special agent at the FBI.
What's your overall assessment of Trump?
He's a sociopathic narcissist who is only interested in advancing his name, his wealth, and his fame.
Is there anything you can do to protect American people from the stuff that he might try to do?
I'm in conversation with a couple of retired generals to try to explore what we can do.
Who were the retired generals that you were going to talk to?
They're like 1, 2, or 3 star generals and admirals. You probably know maybe 4 stars. So I also have a big day tomorrow, probably the biggest day of all. So we have this huge meeting with military leaders in a very secure room called the Tank.
Ooh.
So we have a tank meeting with all of the top leaders in the United States military tomorrow on my topic that I prepared.
So it went well?
I think it went well. It's very sensitive information. We're going to have to keep it between us. And I specialize in artificial intelligence and emerging technologies like quantum, cybersecurity. Yeah.
What's quantum? I haven't heard of it.
Quantum is incredibly fast supercomputing that doesn't yet exist but will soon exist, and when it does, it will change everything.
Hegseth.
Hegseth.
Who's that?
Secretary of Defense. He's cheated on all of his wives, all of his girlfriends. He's had some sexual assault allegations. He's an alcoholic. There's a lot of observations of him drinking. You're not a spy? You're not trying to collect information from me?
I wish I was. That'd be cool.
Well, with me, literally with a former FBI agent, so you're gonna be safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, meet James O'Keefe, right? It's like, I mean, look at that. Yeah. So that's when you see that guy, you've probably been caught. It's like, you're not a spy or anything. No, I'm a journalist. Wait, I didn't know journalists still do journalism. Yeah, they still do. Ours do, at least. That being said, there's one more story that I don't want you to miss. Megyn Kelly now expects Pete Hegseth to be confirmed and slams Democrats, women senators, as hysterical fools. Mike LaChance reports that Megyn Kelly was at the Pete Hegseth hearings on Monday and praised his performance in the face of unhinged Democrats. You know, they do lie. I just want to tell you guys something. These people do lie, and I'll play the video here in just a moment. But rather than wasting your time reading about the video, because you can obviously go to the website and you can do the reading. Shout out to the authors who spend their time writing all that stuff. Listen to her final conclusion on what she says about this. Watch.
Why do the women have to be like these hysterical fools? Why can't they be more dignified? You know, like you could lay gloves on him. I mean, Tim Kaine was the worst. I should say that up front. The worst, the most disgusting, I should say. But he wasn't like an hysteric. Mazie Hirono is so dumb. I can't believe she's a U.S. senator. Kristen Gillibrand was like, women can be in combat. You've hurt our feelings. It was like, oh my God, you are undermining the very cause that I know you so desperately want. I want to promote right now. So I was embarrassed for why do the women have to be like these hysterical fools? Why can't they be more dignified? You know, like you could lay gloves on him. I mean, Tim Kaine was the worst. I should say that up front. The worst, the most disgusting, I should say, but he wasn't like an hysteric. Mazie Hirono is so dumb. I can't believe she's a U.S. Senator. Kristen Gillibrand was like, women can be in combat. You've hurt our feelings. It was like, oh my God, you are undermining the very cause that I know you so desperately want to promote right now. So I was embarrassed for them. I was embarrassed for my sex and how they were behaving today. Why do the women have to be like these hysterical fools?
Yeah. Why do they have to be these hysterical fools? Look, I hate to say it to you, but sometimes I feel like it's like we wonder, why is water wet? You know what I mean? Why does water have to get you wet? Could water get you dry? Why do women have to be irrational? No, many of you are women here too, and I'm not saying anything, but like, we're conservatives. Let's not appeal to liberals here. Let's be honest. Men and women are distinctly different. We have very different understandings of the way that the world works. We see the world very differently. We're complementary. We're not in competition. But, you know, that also proves we don't really work in competition in government, because feminism isn't about learning from women on what's good for children, what's good for the family. It's all about making men and women compete. And this feminism is just arced into the every crevice of our society, and it's not good. It's not good. You know, a lot of people who say that they're conservative are very liberal in themselves. I mean, you know, Megyn Kelly has become conservative-ish over the years, but she's a working woman. You know, she's a career woman. She has sought fame and money. She, you know, is the leading voice in her family, right? And I'm not saying she doesn't have conservative practices at home. I'm not speaking poorly of her. I like her. But I think that, like, you know, it's hard because the best examples of what a conservative, meek woman would be you'd never see them, because they're probably not seeking to be on camera. They're not looking to be out in the public. They're not trying to be a voice. But they are out there. There's some great authors, right? Cindy McGarvey, the CEO of Youth for Christ Australia. Great author. She's written 2 books, Lost Boys and Lost Girls, a book for the boys and the girls about like the problems with feminism creeping into the church and the businesses and what it's done to weaken men and weaken women from their original roles. I would check them out. It's called Lost Boys, Lost Girls. Really good book. Every guy should read the Lost Boys book. It's like basically pinpoints. I know it's written by a woman, but it's like kind of like from a woman's perspective, how women have sort of denigrated and taken away men's identity and what women are really searching for, like what women want men to be and who you could be. And it's a great book. You should check it out. Anyway, I'm Elijah Schaffer. Don't forget to join our mug club at thegatewaypundit.com. You get this great, delicious mug. It's fantastic. You can support the community. You join membership. You get exclusive membership, and you get to sip your coffee. This is made well. Have a great rest of the week, as always, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.